Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Consider product placement with Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Visit our website at jmmbmediallc.com to discover digital products to 10x your business. Contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. I don't look to jump over 7-foot bars. I look for 1-foot bars that I can step over. Warren Buffett. Today, we welcome Stuart Lichtman, who is an executive, entrepreneur, researcher, consultant, trainer, and coach. He has directed or run 100 companies and trained more than 50,000 people around the world. Stuart is also the developer of the Cybernetic Transposition and Shared Vision Leadership System. He is the author of The Art of Success, Luck, and Harmony, The Impossible as a Matter of Course, and How to Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast. Stuart is also the creator of the Arintel Artificial Intelligence Data Analysis Program, president of Partners in Excellence Incorporated, and president of Successful Ventures Publishing Incorporated. Today, he is back with us to talk about finding perfect sales prospects. Welcome back, Stu.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Yes, we're happy to have you back. So everybody wants to know how to get those clients, how to get people into their business, purchasing their products or services. So please share with us.
Let me tell you a story first. I used to fly around the world once a month, visiting my clients in various countries. Now, how I got those clients is what I'm going to talk about. But basically, I did what I'm going to describe, and then flying first class. Normally, seats were all filled, and somebody would sit down next to me. And you know how you talk. You say, "What do you do? What do you do?" When they said to me, "What do you do?" I said to them, I teach people to achieve seemingly impossible objectives by consciously managing their unconscious. And we were off to the races. Now, it wasn't by chance that those people sat down next to me. In fact, I had the experience several times of people switching seats so they can end up next to me. And usually I'd get off the plane when I had the right prospect with a $500,000 to $2 million contract. So let me tell you how that works. Your perfect client or sales prospect meets certain criteria. What would they be? Well, for example, they have a need for what you're selling. They have the money to pay for it. They are a decision maker who can decide to give you the work. They match with your personality, so there's an easygoing interaction. And they have a long-term interest in the health of their business. So those are the basic things I was looking for. And I would set up an unconscious target to have those kind of people sit down next to me. Now, the way I did that was by setting up a description of the characteristics I wanted. I gave you 5, but there are usually 12 or 13. And for example, a decision maker. So I would then remember somebody from some time in my life who made decisions rapidly, easily, and effectively. And then I'd write down their name, and I'd write down a memory of them demonstrating that. And then for each of the other characteristics, I'd remember a person who demonstrated in that characteristic. When I got through, I'd have a series of 12 or 13 memories, depending on what I was doing. And then I'd put them together in my unconscious as a target, a description of my perfect sales prospect. And then I would, using my cybernetic transposition technique, set an objective that was perfect for my conscious mind and for my unconscious, and set in an action. Of course, sometimes I'd run into blockers, that is self-defeating unconscious habit patterns, and I use my techniques to resolve those into strengths. And then when I got on the next airplane, I'd have the expectation that a perfect prospect would sit down next to me. Typically, they were CEOs, division heads, chairman of the board of significant sized companies, because I was charging $25,000 to $50,000 a day. And they both had to have the budget and the decision making. And once I got them on board, I used my techniques to create a long-term relationship with them. So doing this was like, 22, this is like 30 years ago. And I had to stop doing that because I contracted a unfortunate disease. However, that would earn me $2 to $3 million a year for working 5 days, 6 days a month. Not bad. I spent the rest of the time traveling with my Australian girlfriend, with my kids or with my wife in Sweden, and enjoying the art world in Amsterdam, among other places. So in my book and in my trainings, I teach you how to do this. With my book, which is called How to Make Lots of Money, Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast, there are 14 bonuses, little ebooks, 25 pages, that one of which is called Finding Your Perfect Romantic Partner. Now, whether it's your romantic partner or your perfect sales prospect, works the same way. It's almost mystical how the unconscious, when properly instructed, gives you what you ask for. And I teach you what are the proper ways to ask that. When you set the objective, it may take a month, it may take even 2 months. About 100% of the people that I've taught this process are successful. And it works just as well with perfect clients or sales prospects.
Wow. So if people want to take this training, how do they do so?
Well, if they go to my I'll call it homepage at stuartlichtman.com, that is StuartLichtman.com, you'll find lots of discussion, free ebooks, and links to my various trainings. The training I was talking about, I call the SACP, the Super Achiever Coaching Program. And there's also a link to my book, How to Become a Highly Successful Entrepreneur, that major venture capitalists have said should be required reading for any aspiring entrepreneur. So there's a lot of stuff there, and you might find it interesting. To get the book, which teaches my basic techniques, you go to www.anything-fast.com. anything-fast.com. So Any questions?
Wow, I took so much away. Now, how do you hone into these 5 different things? Like, I mean, you were flying around the world once a month. So you were in that circle of people that had the money to pay and probably and decision makers. So if you are an aspiring entrepreneur and you're just getting started, you're really trying to get to those circles.
Well, let me talk about how I got started in consulting. I built up a real estate empire. I had 4 subdivisions going at once and a planned city, which is now Gaithersburg, Maryland. And I didn't know what I was doing. So it all collapsed when the first negative real estate cycle happened. I went bankrupt. So I had to get a job. And I set up in my unconscious to find a perfect job, which had the characteristics, interesting people, good opportunities, and so on. And I gave my resume to a headhunter. And he said, got a job for you. So I went to Control Data. They had just bought a company that was run by the most prolific inventor in the world at the time, a fellow named Jack Ravenel, making artificial intelligence equipment. So I fit right in because at MIT I studied and developed artificial intelligence. And after about a year there, I realized their gizmo, which was an optical character recognition device, a reading machine that could read printed material and convert into computer codes and sold for several $100,000, could be better implemented in software and sold for $35,000 to $40,000. So I put together a team and I decided I would do a venture. Now, when I got to, I did in fact, in 3 days, raise $2.5 million using my technique. When I got through with that venture, I was sitting home in my basement office saying, what should I do next? And I set up a target in my unconscious of someone coming along, giving me something interesting to do. And that very night, my wife had some friends over, and the husband said, I've just gotten the basic ordering contract of many, many millions of bucks from the US government to help minority entrepreneurs become highly successful. Would you like to do some consulting work for me? And I said, sure. Well, how much do you pay? He said, $250 a day. I said, okay, let's get started. And I really enjoyed the work. Like there was they had what they called community development corporations that were locally staffed, funded by the government. I was working at one in South Bronx, Fort Apache, where the cops lock themselves in at night. And that was true, really. And we were taking businesses that were successfully run by older, typically Jewish entrepreneurs who wanted to retire. And because of the nature of the environment and so on, their kids didn't want to have anything to do with them. And so we were buying the businesses and staffing them with entrepreneurs that we found. Now, who were the entrepreneurs in South Bronx? They were called drug dealers. So I became very good at taking a drug dealer and looking into their future and saying, if you stick with this line of business, you're probably going to be dead or in jail within a few years. Let me offer you an alternative. And I would talk about training them to be an entrepreneur running these kind of businesses. And I got quite a few that converted very successfully. And I was really enjoying that. I felt like I'd doing something worthwhile. And after a while, I was offered a job that was in a mainstream company as a consultant and for a CEO there. It was a local business. I was in the Washington, D.C. area. And what can I say? The guy didn't know, how can I put it politely? His head from his kneecap. So he was having trouble. He was trying to raise venture capital, and it didn't warrant, his business didn't warrant venture capital. He had a sign on his desk that aptly expressed how he managed. I said, maybe, and that's final. And maybe, and that's final was his way of operating. So I managed to help him turn around the company, get on the straight and narrow and properly heading his company. And that was fun. I then was given a job by a venture capitalist when I did a doctorate. I did my doctoral dissertation on the unconscious decision-making of venture capitalists. And that built on a newsletter that dissected privately held investment opportunities. So I knew some number of venture capitalists. And through this study, studying 100 of the top ones, some of them came to me and said, hey, would you like to run a startup for us? Typically when they had an inventor or somebody, but they had the inventor had no entrepreneurial experience. So I started doing that and I enjoyed it. And my rule was I'd only stay for a year because I like the startup phase. And then we bring in somebody who had the characteristics venture capitalists want, which are a name and a resume that would allow the company to go public, et cetera. Then,
wow.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in all the ventures that you've had, it has been a conscious effort to, you consciously targeted what it was that you wanted.
Yeah, sure.
And
you know
that's
the
what
old
I'm
saying,
hearing.
Could you?
if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Oh, that's right. So can you talk a bit, and all of these things that you've done, as Ida said, the thing that you keep saying that is that you target. And a lot of people may not really understand what you're saying. And I don't know if it would help clarify things if you talked a little bit about what cybernetics is and how that works within the realm of what you're talking about. Because many people,
That's a good question, Ruth.
Okay.
Cybernetic transposition. I'm not going to talk about cybernetics, but I will talk about my thing, which is cybernetic transposition. And it's very simple. There are three things you have to do to achieve seemingly impossible objectives. The first one is to set a target that is consciously and unconsciously harmoniously accepted by your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. By that I mean, if consciously it makes sense, it's what you want, and intuitively it seems perfect for you, just right, exactly the thing you want, then you've got a pretty good target, at least. The second thing you have to do is tell your unconscious to make that happen and prioritize making that happen so that the unconscious pays attention to achieving it, as well as the millions of other things it's doing, puts a higher priority on it than the other things, other than keeping you alive, which is, of course, the first priority. And once you've done that, then what will pop up are the unconscious self-defeating habit patterns that would otherwise get in your way, prevent you from achieving. And I have a series of techniques that allow you to reprogram the parts of the unconscious, I call them subpersonalities, that are expressing these roadblocks and change them into expressing success patterns, unconscious success patterns that contribute to achieving your objective. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So you teach people how to do this, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, we could talk to you on and on and on, because this is just,
It's
just
information.
another way of having some type of control over your destiny.
Yeah, indeed.
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Lichtman, that we're supposed to? This is not something that is foreign to us. It's just that we don't know that it's there, and therefore we don't use it.
That's a good description. I laughingly refer to my book, How to Get Lots of Money for Anything Fast, as the human instruction manual that wasn't delivered with us.
Okay.
I like that. But we're definitely going to have to do this again. I know we could have you on every week.
That's a thought.
We are definitely enjoying this.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to look into your course, because I get good vibrations from you. I don't know what it is, but it's like a connection. And I'm definitely going to look into your course, because I need to know how to really, the words I'm looking for is really tap into my unconscious and conscious being and know when I'm doing it.
I can tell you how you know when you're doing it. Things are easy.
Okay.
I always say easy is good. It's not just a phrase. It's a measurement tool that says whether you're on track or not. If things are difficult or tough or challenging, you're running into a block or self-defeating unconscious habit pattern. Mm-hmm. So with my techniques, you just turn that into a success pattern.
All righty.
Next time you come back, that's what we want to talk about. Just what you said just now.
Right.
Self-defeating programs that are in here that, that's what we're going to talk about.
That's our next conversation. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lichtman. We are really having a good time.
Oh my gosh, I keep saying to call me Stu.
I mean, Stuart, thank you so much. I'm definitely going to take your class, because we'll have you on here every week. Our audience would be like, don't they have anybody else? No, we have just Mr. Stuart.
Yeah.
So we are definitely I'm going to take the class. So I'm going to go and look and see what the costs are so that I can get involved with the class.
Okay.
Super duper.
It was definitely a pleasure. We're going to have you again. You already know. Because we want to keep this going. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your insight and helping people really penetrate on the inside, because this is what this is all about, controlling what's going on in your mind and having that control in order to make it work for you, not against you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.